Fanny Pack.
The good news is it's like having a toy chest, right? I mean, we're talking about capital development. We're talking about, do you do a roller coaster or dinosaurs, right? Those type of questions. The obligation, though, that comes with it is to make sure that, watch yourself, the obligation that comes with it is, we're responsible for thousands of people's livelihoods, right? And then tens of thousands or literally millions of people's vacations. And we take that seriously, so that's the part. The only thing I lose sleep over, and people ask me that question, is about the number of people that we have responsibility for to put food on the table, to pay their rent, send their kids to college, and occasionally buy a ticket to Cedar Point or Kings Island. People are everything in this business. I've always said I get a lot of letters how great the rides are, but the letters that are the most compelling to me are where people went the extra mile. And I don't care whether you're a seasonal or a full-time staff member or an executive in the organization. You don't work in this type of business unless you have a heart for it. It's just, it's too hard. But the reality is that over time, there's self-selection. So if you choose to work here, and our people come back year after year, as you know, they have the heart for it. And for the younger people that come here for the first time to work, they teach them, what it's like to be a Cedar Fair employee. So employees are everything. And it sounds like it's an overstatement or just kind of a tagline, but it really isn't. The people you work with are the people that make your job the most enjoyable. But I do think what's important is that there's stuff for every member of the family, number one, so that everybody can have a good time when they come, and I think that's important. But for Cedar Point particularly, it's important to have a new roller coaster every now and then. It is what we're famous for, and I think if you're not too careful, you can forget that. And so yeah, we ought to. I don't know if there is ever too many roller coasters. But they should be special. Families are important to the business for two primary reasons. One is it's good business for us, right? So a family size of 3, 4, 5, 6 is just good business for us, and particularly in our peak summer season when we can attract audiences like that to fill up our parks. But the other reason is what you do as a kid, you're more likely to do as an adult. So we're actually, I said earlier in a conversation you and I were having about genetic vacation behavior. And that's exactly what it is. So when you do it as a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old or a 9-year-old, you come back as a teen, and then you're a young parent, and you want to come back and share that memory with your kids. So for the business to be healthy for the next several generations, you want young families to grow up with your product. And so Rob Decker, who is our guy that does all the planning and stuff, really wanted to make an area that's much more comfortable for the guests to sit at during the day, as well as, obviously, for luminosity. So right now, a lot of dirt. Hopefully by opening day, it won't be dirt. So I think to stay the number one amusement park in the world, you need to stay fresh and stretch your innovation a little bit, right? And so I hope that we're 98% right. Usually we're about 85% right. But the idea that the way I look at it is for young families, it's a great way to end your day. A little kiss goodnight, you will. And for older families, it's a great way to start your night. And there's been a lot of people that have been looking for us to contemporize elements of Cedar Point. And I don't think you need to contemporize Cedar Point. I think part of what makes it great is what's been here forever. But at the same time, this is the type of thing that, just a little bit of dash on top of, a little bit of sugar on top of the cake for people that know and love this place, and hopefully we'll pull it off. So you see all the way from the Great Wheel to Millennium Force, right? And that is not a view. That's not a view you used to be able to get. So going in both directions, two of the icons of the park will be readily visible from our main midway. We get a lot of questions about fast lane, right? So why do it is the fundamental question, as you just said. And the real answer is because the consumers are asking for it, right? So there's a subset of consumers I call the benefit-oriented consumers, and those are the people that are visiting generally for just one day, and they've come a long way, and they want to do as much as they can in one day, and they're willing to pay a premium price to do that. And as a company, as a public company particularly, if we're able to offer that, then we can take those resources we make from that and be able to invest in things like new roller coasters, right? So the secret is, though, to not get greedy, sell only so many, so that's a good experience for the people that buy them, but it's not, you don't sell so many that it really hurts the people who are standing in the regular line. Capacity is important. I think, the number of trains you run, the number of trains you have available when one is out of service, et cetera, particularly on the coasters, is something I think we're going to spend a little more time on. Because, quite honestly, that's what you come for. You come for the number of rides you get, right? And, again, as a public company, you have to balance those investments out. But capacity has always been important because it's part of the reason you come is to ride rides. What did Disney do to me? I think it taught me that, number one, I've said it earlier, the most important thing are your employees, right? So everybody wants to be respected, valued, and appreciated. And when they feel that way, they behave differently. And I think that's the number one thing it taught me. The number two thing I always tell people is attention to detail. Details are important, right? And Cedar Fair has always been known for parks that are pristine in terms of their cleanliness, been known well for its friendliness, et cetera. And I think that's a legacy I'd like to see continue. But it's a lot about who you hire, how you motivate, how you encourage. And so I haven't had a lot of time to spend in the parks in terms of operating days yet. But I'll do a little bit more of that this year. I would be scared, actually. And he moves. I can't tell you how, but he moves. Extraordinary beach that is extraordinarily underutilized, right? And so the opportunity to add it to your Cedar Point vacation, either by staying an extra day or just taking time out on the beach during the middle of the day, I think is just something that we probably have not talked enough about. So we'll play with it this year. And as I said to you before, Jeff, I'm looking for things people will do instinctively. So frisbees on the beach, sandcastles on the beach, things that people do naturally. But we just have to remind them it's here so that they bring, maybe bring a bathing suit with them, bring a towel, do the other things that you need to do. But I hope that in the next couple of years we see the beach come to life. I think it's a really important part of what you can do here. And it just makes a better vacation and even a better day visit. Water parks are very important to us, particularly, well, here at Cedar Point for sure, but let me use Kings Island or Kings Dominion as an example, where it's 2 parks for the price of 1, right? So in those markets, it's a great marketing tool to say 2 parks for the price of 1, and the annual pass holders use the parks exactly that way, whether they'll come, many times they come for just one or the other, water park during a nice hot day, evening after work for the other parks. And sometimes they're well prepared. They come and do the water park during the heat of the day and then, go into the amusement park at night. So it's very important to us. It's also fun. It's a little more relaxing for the most part. A lot of people certainly get on and ride the slides, et cetera, but other people stay on their towel all day. And by the end of the day, they're a little burnt. But we all would be. But no, water parks are fun for us. Hotels are important to us. But the most important thing to us are new rides, attractions, and shows. So I don't think you'll see us aggressively expand our hotel portfolio. What I like to say is, I'm happy filling up the hotels that are on our site here at Cedar Point, and then off-property as well, because if people are staying in those hotels, they're certainly buying a ticket to either Cedar Point or Kings Island or one of our other parks. So I don't think you'll see us aggressively expand hotels. I do like our campgrounds. I think there's opportunity to make the campgrounds expand because they're full most of the year. Here at Cedar Point, we have the cottages on the lake, which are extremely popular, and so maybe we can do a few more of those. But hotels are important in that it lets you do more than one day, and it lets you relax in your visit when you're able to do more than one day. So I always encourage people, no matter which park it is, to stay overnight, but it doesn't have to be in our hotels. I think that over time you'll see us freshen the hotels. It's important. I come from a little bit of background in the hotel industry as well, so it's important that the hotels are kept up to date. And you'll continue to see us do that over years like all hoteliers do. They don't do it all in one big swatch, if you will. They do it over a course of several years. What I have to remember is there's not like one, core family and everybody looks alike, right? So as you've got teenagers and as you've got older families, they like the fact that we go late into the night in many of our parks. And they're just looking for stuff that's fun for them, maybe after they've ridden the rides. So you'll see a little bit more of that from us. Some opportunities, to sit down and relax with friends at the end of the day in more of an adult format, but certainly family friendly. These are parks, I never want to get to the point where alcohol is at all emphasized. It may be available, but it's not emphasized.
You get kind of giddy like a kid when you get to walk around backstage like this?
I don't know that I get giddy anymore. I get proud. You know, to be associated with something like this, I get proud.